Okay, welcome back. This is episode 8 of Unveiling Lazarus in Mark's Gospel. This one is entitled When They Rise from the Dead. The focus of this series, Lazarus is making cameo appearances in the Gospels, and these appearances are more prominent in the Gospel according to Mark than the other synoptics. And why is that? Because his friends Peter and Andrew are the true source of the Gospel of Mark, and they want you to find him there. Where we've been so far, we had the intro. We had two parts on the rich young ruler. We looked at the naked young man in the garden. We looked at the beloved disciple at the Last Supper, the man carrying a pitcher of water, and the master of the house. In episode 6, those were a little shaky. We're not sure about that one. And the last episode was the one offering the wine to Jesus while he was at the cross. And today, we're going to look at the Sadducees when they questioned Jesus about marriage and the resurrection. What is different about Mark's version of the story, and does Mark's version point to Lazarus more so than the other synoptic gospels? So here's our text here, Sadducees questioning Jesus. I'm not going to get in the whole text. I'm just going to look at Jesus's answer here. I'm sure you're familiar with the story. This time we're taking it out of Mark chapter 12, just Jesus' answer. He says to the Sadducees, "Are you not therefore mistaken, because you do not know the scriptures nor the power of God? For when they rise from the dead, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like angels in heaven." So a quick side note here, I could not resist this. When Jesus responds in both Mark and Matthew, he criticizes the Sadducees for not knowing the scriptures, and then he immediately quotes from 1 Enoch chapter 15. So in my mind, and I think the only logical thing to conclude here is that Jesus is referring to 1 Enoch 15 as scripture. Now, how much of Enoch you want to put into that? How much of it is Jesus quoting as scripture? I mean, he's only taking a short quote, but is it the whole book? Is it just the Watchers? Is it the first 17 chapters? People debate about these things, but without a doubt, he was referring to 1 Enoch chapter 15 as scripture. So as Christians, what are we supposed to do with that? And I'm not going to answer that question on this video. I just could not resist to include that, just something to think about. Okay, back to the story in Jesus' answer. We're going to compare the gospel accounts. All three synoptic accounts, they're fairly similar. It's not mentioned in the fourth gospel. Mark and Matthew, as we just stated on the previous slide, they both mention the scriptures. There's a very, very subtle difference in Mark, and I might be accused of just trying to press this one too hard here, but for me, I'm pretty convinced that this is just a very, very subtle hint at Lazarus here. So when Jesus answers, he says in both Matthew and Luke, he says, in the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in marriage. But in Mark, very interesting here, instead of saying in the resurrection, he says, when they rise from the dead. And on the surface, you can say the resurrection, rising from the dead is the same thing. But is there a difference here? In closing, we're going to look, was Peter, again, Mark's gospel is a gospel according to Peter, was he hinting at Lazarus again? So in the resurrection versus when they rise from the dead. Now, the resurrection was a collective event that all people were looking forward to in Jesus' time. I think about Mary when Jesus came to raise Lazarus from the dead. She said, I know that in the resurrection he will rise again. And Jesus said to her, no. He said, no, I am the resurrection and the life. And he goes on to have a discussion with her. So the resurrection was a collective event. I'm just going to argue here that when he says when they rise from the dead, this could be interpreted as an individual event, such as when Jesus raised Lazarus, an individual from the dead. Again, I might be pressing it. You may or may not agree with that here, but just look at this again. He says, he continues to say, in the resurrection or when they rise from the dead, they will neither marry Lazarus, single guy, pretty sure, right? I mean, this kind of points to Lazarus here, nor will they be given in marriage, but yet they will be like the angels in heaven. So Lazarus, I can't think of anyone who is more angelic, right? I mean, when Jesus raised him from the dead, the beloved disciple Lazarus, he was just clinging to Jesus, just worship all day long. I think there, again, very subtle hints here, a difference saying when they rise from the dead. And I think that these fit the pattern of Mark, or again, Peter and Andrew, truly their gospel, hinting at their friend Lazarus. Let me know what you think about that. That's all for today. Any questions or comments, let me know. And until next time, contend earnestly for the faith which was once for all delivered to the saints, and God bless.